We have last minute leaks regarding the Apple Watch Series 11 ahead of the September event from Mr. Mark Gurman, and to no one's surprise he tells us there won't be a major redesign. This is to be expected because the Series 10 introduced a new chassis, and so expect Apple to keep that around for another year. Instead, we'll apparently see changes like a brighter display, a refreshed set of colours and bands, and a quiet fix for those reports of chipping issues on the jet black finish from the Series 10. In addition, Gurman says we'll get a new S11 chipset, a more efficient MediaTek modem with 5G RedCap support, and while blood pressure monitoring is still in the works, Gurman doesn't think it's ready for prime time just yet, which is surprising. I was under the assumption it was ready for launch, and I'll talk more about this later in the video, but I hope Gurman is wrong about this even if the chances of him being false are very low. That's what Gurman told us about today, but now let's summarize everything to expect based on my speculation as well as previous reports. You see, last year we got display improvements with the Series 10, bigger screens, slimmer bezels, a more refined chassis, but this year, Apple seems to be focusing on what's under the hood. We're talking performance, health tracking, and some smart watchOS 26 features that could genuinely change how you use your Apple Watch day to day. It's not a revolutionary upgrade, but it's also nothing minor. In this video, I'll walk you through all the major leaks, rumors, and little hints we've picked up on so far. And if you're into staying ahead of the curve on all things Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers right now, and I'll be covering everything from the Series 11 to the Ultra 3, and yes, even the inevitable 2030 Apple Watch with a built-in espresso machine. Okay, maybe not that last one, but regardless, a sub to the channel would be appreciated. Let's start with the first big change, performance. The Series 11 is set to debut with a brand new S11 chipset, and that's not just a name change. This thing is reportedly more compact and more efficient than the S10, meaning Apple could squeeze in either a bigger battery or other internal components without making the watch thicker. Now, a larger battery I would love to see, but since Apple hates giving the Apple Watch better battery life for some reason, I'm gonna guess this will make way for the better modem or satellite connectivity, which I'll get to. And I know performance boosts on Apple Watches aren't always dramatic, they're not gaming rigs, but you should get fast Apple launches. Apple's also rumored to be refreshing the modem inside the Series 10, and this is where things get more interesting. We might finally see the jump from LTE to something called 5G RedCap. Now, before you get excited, RedCap isn't the blazing fast 5G you get on the iPhone. It's a lower power wearable friendly version designed for devices that don't need insane download speeds, but could benefit from improved latency and coverage. Think of it as 5G Lite, but still better than what we have right now. It should make tasks like sending messages, updating fitness data, or downloading playlists on the go feel quicker and more reliable. And talking about messages, let's talk about satellite connectivity. Satellite support has been available on iPhones for a couple of years now, originally for emergency SOS, and then expanding to standard text messages in iOS 18. Apple wants to bring that same safety net to the wrist. Imagine being completely off-grid, no cell towers, no Wi-Fi, and still being able to message someone from your watch. That could be game-changing. Now, rumors have only highlighted the Apple Watch Ultra 3 getting this, which makes sense considering that's a rugged watch, but considering this is a safety feature, and right now non-Pro and Pro phones support this, I think the regular Series 7 will get this upgrade as well. Of course, the real headline for some people is going to be health tracking. There's been buzz about Apple working on blood pressure tracking for years, and it seems the Series 11 might be the one to finally bring it. Emphasis on might. From what's been reported, this won't be a full replacement for your GP's cuff style measurement. Instead, it's designed to detect hypertension, that's persistently high blood pressure, and does notify you if it sees worrying patterns over time. Why is that a big deal? Because hypertension is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke, and often people don't realize they have it until something serious happens. Even if it's not giving you exact numbers, a gentle, hey, something might be off, go get this checked, nudge from your wrist could actually be a lifesaver. Apple's already had success with features like atrial fibrillation detection, where the watch picks up irregular heart rhythms, and this is very much in the same early warning category. Now let's talk about software. The Series 11 is going to ship with watchOS 26 out of the box, which Apple is already beta testing, and this update is quietly loaded with some quality of life changes. First up, there's a new feature called Workout Buddy. If you've ever wanted your watch to sound like a personal trainer rather than a polite piece of tech, this is it. It uses generative AI trained on real Apple Fitness Plus trainer voices, so instead of robotic encouragement, you get something much more human, maybe even a bit too human if it starts shouting at you mid-run. The catch? Workout Buddy relies on Apple Intelligence, which in turn requires a paired iPhone that supports it, so if you're still using an older iPhone that does not support Apple Intelligence, you might miss out on this. Still, for those who can use it, this could change how you work out with the Apple Watch. On top of that, watchOS 26 brings the liquid glass redesign we've seen on iOS 26. It's sleek, it's modern, and it makes the whole UI feel fresher. There's also an updated smart stack for widgets, a reworked control center, and new gestures to make interacting with the watch a bit more seamless. It's a kind of polish Apple's good at, nothing earth-shattering, but it adds up to a more refined experience. There's also something quietly brewing in the code of iOS 26, a sleep score feature. Now, plenty of health wearables already offer this, Fitbit, Garmin, Aura, but Apple hasn't offered this until now. The idea is, instead of just showing you how long you've slept and breaking it down into REM, core, and deep stages, it will actually give you a score predicting how well you function that day based on your rest. It could pull in other metrics as well, like heart rate variability and blood oxygen levels, to give you a more holistic view of your recovery. Interestingly, there's no sign of this in the public watchOS 26 beta yet, which does suggest it could be a Series 11 exclusive at launch. That wouldn't surprise me, considering Apple loves to keep certain features tied to new hardware to drive upgrades. Now, I know 2025 is technically the Apple Watch's 10th anniversary. Yes, the Apple Watch was announced in 2024, but it was released to the public in early 2025. When the original launched back in 2015, it was pitched as a fashion accessory as much as a piece of tech. Remember the gold edition model that cost as much as a car? Over the years, it's shifted firmly into health and fitness, but you might be wondering, will they do anything special to commemorate this milestone? I don't think so. Technically, the Series 10 debuted with a new design that I guess signified to us that 2024 was when Apple marked 10 years of the Apple Watch. And I know the Series 10 wasn't as drastic of a redesign as Rumours had pointed towards. For example, you got no new magnetic band system, but it's a redesign regardless, so expect Apple to keep this design for the next 2 years. Apple tends to redesign the watch once every 3 years. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the Series 11 feels like a refinement year rather than a revolution. Apple seems to be focusing on performance, connectivity, and health alerts rather than dramatic design overhauls, and that actually makes sense. The wearable market is maturing, people don't upgrade their watch every year, so Apple needs to add features that feel genuinely useful, not just flashy. A more efficient chipset, better network speeds, smart health monitoring, those are the kind of upgrades that can keep you using your watch more often for more activities. It also lines up with Apple's broader strategy of deepening integration across devices. Features like Workout Buddy lead into the iPhone's AI capabilities, sleep scoring could tie into iOS health recommendations, even 5G RedCap support could make the watch feel more independent when you're out without your phone. Of course, the big unknown is pricing. Apple hasn't hinted at changes yet, but with the rise in component costs and inflation, a small bump wouldn't be too shocking. Though considering the design isn't changing, I don't think they can get away with a price increase. I will mention though that if you're not really interested in the new features, you can get the Series 10 for less. That's a great thing about these watches not having big changes year over year. You can just save money by getting an older watch, and thankfully Apple Watches depreciate very fast. So to wrap things up, here's what we're expecting. A faster, more efficient S11 chipset, potential 5G RedCap support for snappier connectivity, the possibility of blood pressure alerts for hypertension detection, fresh watchOS 26 features like Workout Buddy and the liquid glass redesign, and a sleep score system that could become your new favorite health metric. No radical redesign overhaul, but a continued push towards making the Apple Watch not just a fitness tracker, but a genuine health companion. I'll be covering Apple's September event in full from the Series 11 to the iPhone 17 and all the surprises in between, so if you haven't already, now is the time to subscribe and let me know in the comments what's that one feature you'd want Apple to add to the Apple Watch, even if it's totally unrealistic. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.